episode of Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering Love Island UK Season 9, Episode 26, Chris. Christ almighty, we get a day off next. So, but for today, we need to talk about this thing. Where would you like to start today?
Well, Dave, I would just like to say we are halfway through the show, my friend.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem right halfway. That means even 50 episodes, which is ridiculous.
Okay, now.
I know. Thank you for still being my friend after all this time. And we're doing maths at the same time. So I think the episode just ran pretty much, there was a bit of a reconciliation, wasn't there, between Shaq and Ron. It's not buried, is it? We said this in yesterday's episode. It never is. This still friction there between them. I think it was fine, the chat and everything. Obviously, like you said, Ron was being fucking, on the outside of the fucking sorting him out and all this nonsense, But, yeah, I think that had to be said. It probably looked like the producers have got involved there as well slightly, because obviously they can't have too much. Well, yeah, possibly. I mean, what did you think of that, Dave? Because I was happy they sort of sorted it out, for the show. But in the back of my head, I'm like, God, it's going to kick off again, isn't it? Let's see something else. Ron's not going to change the toilet roll or something like that, and fucking Shaq's going to have him again here.
He's not done the dusting. For fuck's sake. I always have to fucking... And you ran out of Mr. Sheen. So I think... Right, so when the boys are all having a chat the morning after, and I'm like, they've not resolved anything. We obviously had a long chat about things unresolved yesterday, and I was still chuckling after we recorded about just thinking in the middle of a PT session. Your client saying, "You're getting on my fucking nerves." It's tickling me all fucking day. But
because you had a bit of context to that as well. I know you said it in the episode, and I forgot to say it. It wasn't actually a male who said it, David.
Oh, right,
yeah,
okay.
I was put well in my
Even
box.
Better.
Yeah, I was put well in my box.
But right, so
stop it.
So it's obviously a sore point. Right, so I thought it was going to be unresolved, and then so we were going to get this sniping, and like I say, Ron was doing his childish, like, oh yeah, if we were on the outside. I bet he's one of those fucking kids at school who's like, hold me back, and no one's holding him back, and they're like, yeah, hold me back, or else I'll have you, kind of thing, and so. Or maybe that's just back in our day. You can't do physical stuff in schools nowadays. Frown upon that. Sounds wrong, that, doesn't it? Right. Let's move on from that. I thought it was quite a mature thing of Shaq to do. Now, I think this episode is going to be hugely divisive because it's one of those, and Chris, I've not said it for a little while now, but the way I look at this episode is kind of a curse on all their houses.
Yeah.
Right, because I don't think anyone comes out particularly well. There's just different levels of being a bit shit. But initially, I thought Shaq did the right thing. I don't think he had the greatest chat with Ron, but he tried to address the fact that they do have this beef. They had this nonsense thing in the group yesterday, let's squash it. Clearly it was not squashed. Clearly, Shaq blew up at Ron last night or the previous night. So it's like, right, come on. And he sort of said that because he's close to Lana, I don't think he got too specific, but it was a bit more specific than, let's just squash it. He didn't actually say, look, I didn't really appreciate how you treated Lana. But did you notice, Chris, in that chat, for all fucking Ron's bravado, and like, if it's fucking on the outside, I'm going to fuck him up, mate. He was like, yeah, I actually agree with you. Yeah. So I was like, oh. And I was like, does he really? Is he just saying that? I'm not sure, but I thought, well, okay, maybe this is kind of going to put it in, back to bed. And I was just like, well, maybe they can move on from this. But then so I thought at that moment, Shaq came across better. Then it went sailing south very quickly because, yeah, like I say, I thought the chat was okay. But then when Tanya and Lana did exactly what I fucking said they'd do, Chris, the only way they can see this is that Shaq was being a knob. And absolving Ron of fucking everything. Absolving him of his entire part in that blow up. And Tanya is saying, like, oh, yeah, look, when you came across and told Ron the first time, you know, that was okay. But the second time, it was just rude and you were wrong. I'm like, but do you listen to your words? He had to come across the second fucking time. It's like when I have to tell my kids to put their coat on because it's freezing outside 3 fucking times. I don't want to tell you or to bring your washing down. It's not because I have fun. Yay, it's washing day. Let's do the washing. Can you bring your washing down? Half an hour later. Can you bring your washing down? Half an hour later again. Can you bring your fucking washing down? You like see where there's an angst. Yeah. Look, no one does the fucking housework for me. I'm doing it fucking all. And so you can see this is touching the nerve for me.
Yeah, but I'm not even said anything for the change. I'm not even touching the nerve. Bro. She's brilliant.
But the naivety, the fact that they are spoiled little fucking brats, they don't see that. They don't see Ron's done fucking anything. Even though the words, like Tanya is saying it, the clue is there. Shaq had to come across a second time. But it seems to me in this whole episode, Ron gets off scot-free. Ron did not do fucking anything except sit there and be like, nah, there's enough of you, mate. Oh, sorry. There's fucking enough of you, mate. So, yeah, Shaq becomes the bad guy then for the whole episode. But I have to remember, right, that these are kids, and I've said it multiple times in the last couple of episodes. But even so, I thought Tanya and Lana handled it in quite an immature way. Tanya and Shaq have told each other they love each other, right? Now, whether we believe that or not, you know, it's just kind of a holiday romance feeling that they associate with love. Why did Tanya have to have Lana there to have the chat with Zach? Zach?
Shaq.
Yeah, Zach. I'm going to fucking, was it Saved by the Bell there?
Zach Morris.
Legend. But yeah, why did she have to? She's supposed to have this intimate connection with Shaq, but she needs to have this particular chat. And the worst thing about it is, I mean, they're not to know this, but Shaq and Ron had this chat one-on-one. The beef is between them, but they feel like they have to go and double team Shaq. And then it just gets worse because I think that was, you know, a bit of a mistake. And then Shaq doesn't take it very well. You know, he feels attacked. Let's face it, he was a little bit. But then Shaq is behaving like a knob as well. Like he's just not taking the criticism. Now I'm trying to think of this. Like would I feel attacked and maybe get a bit defensive? Yeah, possibly. But Shaq gets this kind of expression in his face. He's so calm and level when he's talking about other people's situations. He seems so chilled and everything. But he does get this kind of more angry face, you know. And so, yeah, I just thought all of them came off not great. But I feel like the reason I feel it's going to be divisive is most people will go with their gut and just defend one or the other. Like some people might fiercely defend what Shaq's doing. Some people might fiercely defend what Tanya's doing. And Lana's part in it as well. I just think they all came off a bit shit, really. But after what I thought was a good start with the Shaq and Ron chat.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, because I'm with you, I think, pretty much on this. Because what annoyed me with it is obviously Shaq's called out Ron, and Ron's deserved to be called out. We've said this a few times. And I think when Ron, well, not fucking Ron at all, when Shaq is giving advice to people, whether it be Ron, Tom, or anyone else, if he thinks something's wrong, he seems to be very measured, very good, and very good at articulating himself as well. He stands his ground and he will pull them and say, you're wrong. You know what I mean? And if they don't agree with him, they can say, no, I don't agree with that or whatever. But most of the time, I say, when I've seen him do that, he's very good. However, I also think he's not very good at taking criticism, Dave. Now, what Tanya did was wrong. I'm with you on this. I think all of them come out of this badly. There's a big conspiracy online saying that Shaq actually likes Lana, and that's why he's getting annoyed at Ron. I'm not really seeing that, so I don't really agree with that. But that's a lot of the social when you put it in.
But I think he does, and he said that. Now, whether you think that is a romantic liking her, but he said he does like Lana. And when he was having the chat with Ron, he said, I obviously, like you as well. But it was like the implied bit was just not as much as Lana. So, like I said, whether you think that is a romantic thing or not is another thing. But he definitely does like Lana. And like I say, even Ron admitted, he said, I agree with you. I did dick her around. He didn't say those words, but that was the implied thing.
No, and so I think going online, it's the more the romantic side. People think there's something there with them. However, you're right about all that. And I do think, as boyfriend and girlfriend or husband and wife, whatever situation, if you're going to get pulled for doing something wrong, you do it between you, don't you?
Yeah, 100%.
I don't agree with it. I don't think necessarily Lana was going to say something, and then eventually she was like, oh, and then she sort of got involved. So Shaq's right. In that respect, Shaq's like, I feel double teamed. Why did you do? They feel ganged up on. Where he loses argument for me, and as much as he had a pop at Ron, he was quite happy to shout across the villa at Ron at the top of his voice. Sort of whatever we think of Ron, he's still dropping him in it and making him, even though Ron was being disrespectful. So he's a knobhead as well. I think all four of them are just, in one way or the other, pissed me off. And they need a lot of... I fucking don't grow up now, even at this age, but it's a maturity thing. There was ways to do that. Tanya was wrong for letting Lana sit there. I don't necessarily... Some of the dialogue she said to Shaq was right. She's like, why are you getting involved? Why isn't you again getting involved in this? So she's right, what she's saying. But as soon as Lana piped up and they were double teaming, I was like, well, this is wrong. And then, like you say, Ron's got off scot-free yet again. Shaq's made out to be the bad guy, and when they said it, what ruined the whole thing, no, Dave? And I think she's doing this on purpose. Well, and a lot of people are conspiring that, we know, and we'll talk about Casa Amor's imminent. Is it a setup? Is this whole thing about you remind me of your ex? Well, where do you go from there? Where do you actually go in a relationship? You've been together 3 weeks, nearly 4 weeks. Where do you actually go at that point? And Shaq was right to say, well, I'm not happy about that. Because I'd have been the same. I'd be like, well, what do you want me to do about that? You know what I mean? I thought that was a really, really poor choice of words on that.
Yeah, it was bad. And I think it was an immature or maybe inexperienced thing to say. So she was kind of trying to articulate that this is not an attractive trait that you've got here. And, you need to work on that. But to say when you like that, you remind me of my ex. And Shaq said, well, exes are exes for a reason.
Yeah.
So it was a real fucking kick in the stones, wasn't it? And it's like, I'm like, do you really come back from that? I mean, that will rock you to the core, I would think. And Tanya doesn't seem to have the emotional intelligence to recognize what impact that's had, I don't think. And she seems more interested in talking to the other girls about how he's potentially going to give her the yick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just find that really quite disrespectful. Again, you're claiming to be love's young dream, but you're having conversations with the girls about, basically, if someone's giving you the ick, you can't fucking stand the sight of them, right? So you're giving all this fucking ammunition to the girls. And honestly, Chris, it's like, you know what, tonight, just fuck them all. In fact, as if that's any different for me. But when the girls are like, oh yeah, there's a rift between the boys, but all us girls, we stick together, don't we? I'm like, yeah, fucking right. And so it just made me laugh. It's like, oh, look, just because the boys are blowing up doesn't make you fucking, this tight-knit group and you're not going to be gossiping. Olivia's fucking there talking behind everyone's back. Oh yeah, girls, girl power, girl code. Fuck off. So let's see where that goes. But you know what, Chris? I don't know. I mean, like you say, for the preview for next night, or Sunday night, you've mentioned Casa Amor. I mean, it's going to be, they're going to drag this fucker out for the whole of Sunday night, and then Casa Amor will happen right at the end of the night. We'll have it's going to be, either a boys' day out or a girls' day out. Ooh, what's coming next? Oh, look, you've got to sneak out of the villa, though, and no one notices, and then they're like, the boys are gone. Oh, what's happening? We're going. I can tell you what's going to happen entirely through Sunday. But yeah, roll on that. But this could not have come at the worst time for Shaq and Tanya. But yeah, I think they've gone too fast, too soon. And yeah, with some of the things that are said, some of the way that they interact, I don't feel like, there's that much hope for them.
No, and it's a shame, isn't it? Because, well, a shame. I think they're going to look back on this because they've used the love word so quickly. I'm not saying that you can't do that, because I'm pretty sure I was pretty quick at doing it with Sam, but there was context that we knew each other for years, but these have gone in.
You weren't, when you said that, right, you weren't like, another bombshell didn't come in the next day. It's like, look, I know you coupled up with Sam, but what about me and you go for a date?
You're one of the neighbours. Hello, Chris.
Do you have a cup of sugar?
What's that movie, Dave? Anyway, but you're right. I think it's going to blow up in the face. I think more than anything, this could be the beginning of the end. Them two. I mean, I'm here for it, Dave. But I ultimately felt that I still, to myself, I do slightly feel that Shaq was being slightly hypocritical the way he told Ron off in front of everyone. And then I know I've said this before, but then he had an issue when Tanya sort of did it with Lana there, but then it was Lana joining in. That was the one that took him over the edge. So do you understand what I mean? I can't say that anybody I'm rooting for or any of them are right or wrong, but there's just bits of the whole interaction where I feel Shaq's been a hypocrite, Tanya's been a hypocrite. She should have kept it between them two, and Lana certainly shouldn't have piped up at that point. I know she may do because she may be defending fucking Ron, Dave. You know what I mean? But I just the whole thing was just a shit show. And again, it was another half hour of the episode wasted on these fucking jokers.
Yeah, and oh god, and I agree with you, and that's why I say, like, a curse on all their houses. I've got no kind of particular allegiance, and I can rationalize some of the things that are said and done and stuff, and I can understand why Shaq did blow up, but he should have handled it in a different way. So he just immediately puts the target on his back. But Chris, I mean, you get the least popular couples, and I fucking knew it, right? The producers are still shoving this fucking Ron and Lana shit down our fucking throats, and they are on screen so much. I fucking knew they wouldn't be in the bottom three couples. So, Jordan and Ellie go, don't they? Which is no surprise to anyone. But the fact that Lana and Ron weren't in the bottom three, it just says to me, I reckon it's a lot of people. Maybe, I'm going to theorize if it's maybe younger people, Chris, who are just watching it and then gravitating to, going along with what the producers want us to go along to. Like, oh, they're hitting their challenges. Ronnie's been tested, but they've found each other. And God, it's great, isn't it? Because they've got all this fucking history. They keep saying they've got all this history, so I believe they've got all this history. And it's just pissing me off because they've got so much screen time again. Even this fucking stupid chat about, Lana's asking about Ron's relationship with the boys, and like he's saying, he's going through them all, like, Casey, he's kind of all right, but it's getting a bit less awkward. Lana, this should be a big fucking red flag. No one fucking likes Ron, right? Red flag, red flag. So yeah, I just feel like we're going to continue to have Ron and Lana fucking shoved in our faces, getting loads of screen time, and they're going to at least be in the final three. And I just don't feel like they deserve it, to be honest.
No, me too, Dave. Me too. And I think as well, you said about Ellie and Jordan getting dumped off that wasn't a shock at all. And what was the whole point of, Tanya ended up getting booted off, didn't she?
Yeah.
The day before. It's like, this was very reminiscent. This booting off was very reminiscent that first series of the US one, where it was only on for 4 weeks. It was a trial show to see if it took off. And there was in couples there you're invested in, and there was a couple who split up, and then after the show they got back together. But it was like every night, within about the last 10 days, nearly every night, there was a couple getting booted off, and you were like, a single person. You were like,
yeah,
there's no payoff here, is there? Like, that whole thing, like, obviously, I know Shaq was one who put the idea in Jordan's head about, Ellie or Tanyel. And Jordan's whole speech the night before was about a friend. And we said on the episode yesterday, it was like, well, we thought it was going to be Tanyel he picked because they were still talking shit together. It's just a waste of time. They might as well have kicked all three of them off in yesterday's episode than this, because I just thought it was an absolute waste of our time.
It was, but I mean, I was gonna say it, then I was thinking, no, should I say it? No, I'm back to I am going to say it. Chris, to date, the whole fucking series has been a bit of a waste of time. I mean, it's fucking great to come on and talk to you about it and stuff, but fuck me, if we weren't recording this, I'd have stopped watching this. This series is fucking shit.
How dare you?
This is one of the worst.
Dare you?
We said that first US season was pretty bad. It was short, so you couldn't really get invested in the couples. There was no tension. There was no drama really. Although there was drama and things happening, but it didn't have the same kind of investment. You're kind of wanting tomorrow to come, but I just think this is possibly the worst season since the last Australian season. I just think everyone, bar Shaq, who's, losing his rag occasionally, everyone's just so aware of the cameras and how they're coming across and stuff. I just think this is actually quite a poor season, to be honest. You know what? I feel like the pantomime's coming. Where they're like the fucking arsehole. I'm fucking Shaq in this situation, aren't I? You're fucking like looking at the crowd and you're crying, and then the crowd goes, oh, and then you cry a bit more. Look back at the crowd, gesture to up the R's, to the crowd.
He may come back. Come on, we need a round of applause, everyone. Come on.
But seriously, it's not good, this series. I mean, Chris, tonight's episode, do you think that was a good episode?
No, Dave, look, cards on the table. It hasn't been a great series. We've had a few little bits, and I do think the last UK one was a great series. The stuff we all talked about, and there was some really bad stuff that needed addressing, but it was, everywhere. There was some bad stuff, but there was also some good stuff. Enough to keep us talking, enough to every night want to watch it. With this one, I'm the same. These bits in it that I'm interested in, and unfortunately, the only thing going on, that's probably why we're seeing a lot of Ron and Lana, is because there's nothing else going on. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got Olivia and Kai, who both, the
most boring couple in the world.
I could have a better conversation with me dining room fucking chairs, Dave. Absolute boring as fuck. Will and Jesse, we're not seeing anything of Will. I mean, obviously, he's the entertainer of the group. They've hardly focused on him. Apparently, Jordan, who's just left, was really funny, was a cool guy. Again, I said it on yesterday's episode, not in the edit. You'll probably see that on the unseen bit. So, maybe they've got new producers this year, but they're not doing what they normally do. The formula is tired. I love talking to you. I love our community that we've got, all our friends, and everyone's like, it's fucking rubbish. And we get a lot of people to say that they like listening to the show because we don't mince our words. We don't go with the storylines. We're not, like other podcasts who go along with the whole thing. We don't. If we see bad behaviour or it's just crap, we will say it, and that's it. And I just feel myself, I agree. I don't think there should be, hand on heart, a Winter Love Island, if I'm being honest. I really don't. I think it's pointless. It's just a cash cow even more. We know it's the biggest show, but this, if they don't get the Summer of Love Island right, this could be the beginning of the end. A bit like stuff like the X Factor and things like that. Like Simon Cowell's absolute massive cash cow has gone off into the graveyard of TV shows now because it's just like people are just bored of it. It's on for too long. It's the same old format. It's rigged. And, the whole show on X Factor and Britain's Got Talent is rigged anyway, as I know. And this is the same. It's all just overproduced. And like I say, even like we were saying the other day, Ian Sterling's not been the same. He's not as funny as he used to be. It may be because of the world we live in, and he hasn't got the sort of freedom that he used to have. But he's just not hit. There's the odd one where you laugh, "Oh, that was good," but he's not been the same. I tell you, who's the best one I know for voiceover work now is Rob Beckett, Dave, on Celebs Go Dating and stuff. Fuck me. Yeah. He is unbelievable. The stuff he says, it's like me and you doing it. Some of the stuff he says are unbelievable. Like I don't know how he gets away with it. It was a Channel 4 show. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm not giving up on it because I'll still watch it, but it's no coincidence that the majority of people in our circle who listen to our show and that are, if it wasn't for us, which is a lovely thing to hear, and we both really appreciate that, they wouldn't be watching it, Dave.
Yeah. You mentioned about Rob Beckett. He is bloody funny. And the first episode, so Drunk History, came out. It was a Comedy Central thing in the US initially, but there's a UK version of it as well. And Rob Beckett is on the first episode of that, talking about Henry VIII and one of his wives, Anne of Cleves, who had been ravaged by smallpox, but the painting didn't reflect that. So and he's telling the story pissed up. And honestly, if you've not seen it, highly recommend it. It's so funny. But definitely seek that one out and watch it. You know what? As we were talking about it, I'd kind of, for a split second, I forgot that it is Winter Love Island, and it's like maybe that's it as well. It's like Christmas, isn't it? Well, if you're from that background, you like Christmas. It's fucking great, isn't it, Christmas? Let's have Christmas in the summer as well. It wouldn't be the same, would it? It's like a yearly special event. And I agree with the 2 months thing as well. Like, it was only last year when it spread out over like 8 weeks, and you're like, I remember when we first realised, it's like, oh, fucking hell. Like, 6 weeks is the bang on time. We said 4 weeks is a bit too short because the couples don't have enough time to really, develop those relationships. But, 8 weeks, too fucking long. But 8 weeks twice a year, it's too much.
Yeah.
And I just feel like because we know none of this lot are here for the reasons that was the original premise of the show. They're all influencers. They're all looking for that social media influencer tag and doing the fucking nightclub circuit with David Brent, handing out free T-shirts. It takes the shine off it. It's like the Wizard of Oz, isn't it? Peeking behind the curtain, I guess, as well. It's so obvious now.
Yeah. I'm with you, Dave.
We'll still be here. It's still, because I just love ripping into it. But yeah, it's just not been a good season.
I'll put it this way, Dave. It's been that bad that me and you have been reminiscing about how we missed the fucking Bachelor franchise.
That is fucking bad, isn't it?
That is when we've hit a low. if we're fucking fantasising, not fantasising, well, I won't be fantasising about the fucking Bachelor, but if we're sort of reminiscing about the Bachelor series, Bachelor, Bachelorette, then we're in trouble, Dave. Love Island's in trouble. So if you want to email us, guys, and email us whatever you think on this, because it is quite subjective what we all think. cdrealitycast@gmail.com, on social media @cdrealitycast. As always, if you want to support us, get over to patreon.com/cdrealitycast. And just before I do the roll call of honour, Facebook, Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. So if you get over there, big thanks to Charlene, as always, for moderating the page for us. So thank you very much. So the final roll call of honour, Dave, for Love Island, while we have a 4-hour break, you deserve it, is Shmave Music, Emma, Fiona, Cassie, Megan, Kate, Maggie, Kristen, Zoe, Gillian, Michelle, Keith, Helen, Brianna, Noreen, Joanna, Libby, Katie, Dee, Priscilla, Susan, Hennessy, Tracy, Lauren, Lucky Lou Green, and Ken Gustafson. So thank you so much for all your support, and we will see you next time.
Bye now.